Hello everyone. So a very good morning to all of you. So today this session, as you all know, we'll be conducting this session, and this session is based on, this is basically the second session of the sectional test which we had conducted day before yesterday. And in this today's session we will be taking into consideration a few very important questions which were being asked in that particular test, and all these questions are from Assam history and art and culture. Okay, so let's begin today's session. See, the very first question. Okay, the very first question is a very important question. It's a very interesting question as well as very important question, and the question goes like this. See, it was under Naranarayan it was under Naranarayan and Silarai that the might of Koch supremacy reached its zenith. Okay, comment. Okay, they're asking you to comment on this, and the question is, it was under Naranarayan and Silarai. Okay, Naranarayan and Silarai, we all know about them. We all know about the significance of these two kings who belong to the Koch kingdom. So in this particular question, we basically have to talk about both the Koch leaders. One was king, as we all know, Naranarayan was the king, and Silarai, who was Naranarayan's brother, he was made the commander-in-chief of the army of Naranarayan. And one thing needs to be understood at the very outset. See, Naranarayan was a very learned man. He was a pacifist. He was not a person who loved fighting wars. Okay, he always preferred peace proposals over aggression. He was that kind of a person. At the same time, he was a very learned and educated person. He was also a very religious person. So all the major political decisions, and by political decisions, I am talking about the decisions which had to do with war, when to launch a war, when not to launch a war. Most of those decisions were taken by Silarai. So if Naranarayan, who was also a very good strategist, if he was the heart, okay, if he was the heart, or you can say if he was the heart of the Koch kingdom, Silarai was he can be called as the mind. Okay, he can be called as the mind or the mastermind behind all the major political decisions. Okay, so both were equally responsible. Okay, in my opinion, both were equally responsible for the supremacy of the Koch kingdom. So let's begin. See, as we all know, the Koch kingdom, which was located, okay, and the capital of the Koch kingdom was Coach Bihar, which today is a part of West Bengal, was expanded and consolidated by Naranarayan and his brother Silarai. Okay, one of the most important consequences of the reign of Naranarayan is that Koch kingdom, it got expanded. Mainly it got expanded towards the eastern part. Okay, primarily it got expanded towards the eastern part at the expense of the Ahom kingdom, and also at the expense of smaller kingdoms like Jayantiya. Okay, also at the expense of smaller kingdoms like the Jayantiya kingdoms and the Kosari kingdom. Okay, so see the first point, Naranarayan in particular, he was a renowned military commander and a brilliant strategist. Okay, he successfully led the Koch forces in numerous battles and campaigns, securing significant victories and expanding the boundaries of the kingdom. Okay, now see, in this connection we can give certain examples also. Okay, in this connection we have to talk about the first invasion of the Ahom kingdom by the Koch kingdom. Okay, which took place around 1546. Okay, and it was in 1546 that the Koch were able to occupy Narayanpur, and they were able to proceed as far as Narayanpur, which today is a part of the Lakhimpur district. Okay, they were able to occupy Narayanpur. They had erected a fort at Narayanpur, and all along this while, by the way, at that point in time, the Ahom king was Tuklengmung, and all along this while, okay, during the course of this invasion on the Ahom territory, they were also building a road by the name of Guhai Komolali Road. And Guhai Komolali, who was Guhai Komolali? Guhai Komolali was also a brother of Naranarayan and Silarai. Okay, so again, so in 1546 they invaded once. Okay, and ultimately a battle took place in 1547 on the banks of Pichala, in which ultimately the Ahoms were able to defeat the Koch forces. Again there was a second invasion of the Koch forces on the Ahom kingdom, which happened around 1562, and in this particular invasion they were able to defeat the Ahom kingdom decisively, and a treaty was also signed by the name of Treaty of Majuli. And after this particular invasion, the Koches were able to, after this particular invasion, mainly, the Koch army under the commandership of none other than Silarai, okay, under the commandership of none other than Silarai, was also able to defeat certain petty and smaller kingdoms like Jayantia, Kosari, okay. So after that, so we can say that once they defeated the Ahom kingdom and they defeated the smaller kingdoms, they not only became the masters of the Brahmaputra valley, okay, although for a brief amount of time, they did not just become the masters of the Brahmaputra valley, because the Ahoms were the masters of the Brahmaputra valley. Now that they have defeated the Ahoms, so in a way we can also call them the masters of the Brahmaputra valley for a short amount of time. But they also became, by defeating the smaller kingdoms, for example, the most of the places which we, most of the places in modern day Kasar, okay, they fell under the dominions of the Kosari kingdom. So once they defeated kingdoms like the Jayantia kingdom and the Kosari kingdom, which were smaller in size in comparison to the Ahom kingdom, they also became the masters. The Koch also became the masters of the Barak Valley. Okay. See, other than that, the Koch dynasty had notable cultural and economic progress during Naranarayan and Silarai. Okay, they supported literature, the arts, architecture, producing a thriving cultural environment. Okay, the kingdom, see, for example, in this connection, we can give the beautiful example of none other than Mahapurukh Srimanta Honkordev, who was given shelter by Naranarayan, because Mahapurukh Srimanta Honkordev at that point in time is said to have faced a certain degree of persecution. He was having a threat to his life. So when he was having a threat to his life in the Ahom dominion, he preferred going to the Koch dominion, and he was given a lot of support by the likes of Silarai and his king Naranarayan. And under the patronage of Naranarayan, the Ekohoron Nam Dharma flourished. Okay, it flourished because, see, at that time, places like Patbausi, and Borpeta, they were under the control of the Koch kingdom. Okay, the kingdom developed into a hub of business and trade, okay, with thriving markets and trade routes linking it to nearby areas. The dynasty's authority was further strengthened by this economic prosperity, which also drew traders and merchants from all over India and beyond. Okay, so a lot of trading activity was also taking place. Moreover, Naranarayan and Silarai, they were known for their able administration and the establishment of an efficient governance system. Okay, the Koch rulers, they encouraged agricultural productivity. And the construction of infrastructure. I was talking about this earlier also. Okay, they are also known for developing a lot of infrastructural projects. Okay, they are also known for undertaking a lot of infrastructural projects. For example, the Guhai Komolali Road. Naranarayan is also said to have reconstructed the famous Kamakhya temple. Okay, Naranarayan is also said to have reconstructed the famous Kamakhya temple after it is believed that a certain person by the name of Kalapahar, it is believed that a certain commander, he was a renegade. Okay, he was an iconoclast. Okay, he was totally against idol worship, and he set on a mission to destroy all the idols. So he came to Assam, an invader by the name of Kalapahar, and he is said to have destroyed two very famous temples of Assam. Number one is Kamakhya temple, and the other is Hoygriba Madhav temple. So the Kamakhya temple was then repaired and refurbished by none other than Naranarayan. Okay, and even today, if you go to the Kamakhya temple, you will find inscriptions. Okay, you will find inscriptions and you will find records dating back to this particular period when the temple was repaired by Naranarayan. Okay, with the support of course, Silarai. So in conclusion, we can say that Silarai and Naranarayan were crucial figures in the Koch dynasty's ascent. The military prowess, wise leadership, and support of the arts and trade brought the kingdoms stature to previously unheard of heights. Okay, the Koch dynasty experienced a golden period under their rule, one that was characterized by geographical expansion, cultural blossoming, and economic success. Now, discuss the contribution of the Ekohara Nam Dharma in the growth of the Assamese language. See, this is a very interesting question which can be asked in the examination. See, earlier in one of my previous classes, I was talking about the role which was being played by Bhakti saints. The role which was being played by Bhakti saints in the promotion of regional and vernacular languages. Okay, so this question can be considered to be an extension of that particular question. But here we need to focus mainly on Assam. What was happening in Assam? Okay, because we know that the greatest Bhakti saint of Assam was Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev. So Ekohara Nam Dharma, or the Neo-Vaishnavite movement, which was started by Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev in Assam, it was also a part of the greater Vaishnavite reformation movement which was started by various other saints in other parts of India. Okay, now we shall focus. Okay, we shall focus only on Assam in this particular question. So it was very natural if the other Bhakti saints were preaching their teachings or they were propagating their ideas in regional languages. Okay, so Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev was also doing the same. He also started for the sake of the masses, so that the masses could understand his teachings and his ideas in a much better way. He chose Assamese language. Okay, he chose a language which the masses would be able to understand, because his ultimate objective was to propagate his ideas. Okay, see, some of its contributions are as follows. Number one, standardization of Assamese. One of the key contributions of Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev was the standardization and promotion of the Assamese language. Okay, he composed numerous devotional songs, like for example Borgits and Bhotimas, which were written in Assamese. Okay, all these are devotional songs which were composed by Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev in praise of Hari or Lord Krishna. Okay, then literary contributions. Okay, Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev, along with his disciple Madhavdev, authored several important literary works in Assamese, okay, known as kirtans. Now we all know about kirtans. Okay, these religious texts written in poetic form. Okay, these religious texts which were written in poetic form were instrumental in preserving and propagating the Assamese language. Okay, the kirtans. Okay, it was the brainchild of Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev, and it played a key role. Okay, and these devotional poems. Okay, these devotional poems were written in Assamese, which played a key role in disseminating or in popularizing the Assamese language. Okay, then of course Assamese translation. Certain great works were translated into the Assamese language. Okay, certain great works were translated into Assamese language during certain great works were translated as part of what? As part of the Neo-Vaishnavite movement that had gripped the entire state of Assam. See, Mahapurukh Hankardev translated the great epic Ramayana from Sanskrit into Assamese. Okay, this translation, known as the Katha Ramayana, it made the story of Lord Rama accessible to the common people. Okay, then social reforms and cultural revival. The Ekohara Nam Dharma movement aimed at eradicating social evils and promoting a more inclusive and egalitarian society. Okay, as a result, the movement encouraged the growth of educational institutions, theatre groups, and cultural organizations. Okay, influence on Assamese literature and performing arts. The Ekohara Nam Dharma's emphasis on devotional music and theatre had a profound impact on Assamese language. The Borgits, Bhotima, and other devotional songs composed by Hankardev and his disciples provided a rich repertoire of musical and poetic expressions in the Assamese language. See, right from the very beginning, a lot of emphasis was being placed on culture and music. And both these things, culture, a lot of importance was given to things like music and drama. And both these aspects, okay, music as well as drama, both these aspects of performing art, both these aspects of performing art were mainly used to propagate the ideas of Ekohoron Nam Dharma. Okay, they were mainly used to propagate the ideas of the Mahapurukya Dharma or Ekohoron Nam Dharma of Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev. And see also the fact, okay, in fact Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev himself started this tradition. Okay, his first drama, the name of his first drama was Sinha Yatra. Okay, he has written many dramas. Okay, one of the most famous dramas of Mahapurukh Srimanta Hankardev was Rukmini Haran. So, and in this way later it became a tradition also. It became a tradition that every Hotradhikar, okay, Hotradhikar was supposed to be, who is Hotradhikar? Hotradhikar is the head of a Hotra. And we all know, in fact, in a previous video, I also talked at length about the Hotra institution. And in fact, it became a tradition later on that every Hotradhikar, every new Hotradhikar, okay, every new Hotradhikar after occupying that particular position, or after sitting in that particular position, every new Hotradhikar, he had to compose a play, he had to compose a drama, he had to write a drama by himself, and okay, also he had to act it out. Okay, it was one of the first things, that was done by the Hotradhikar after assuming that prestigious position. Okay, so that itself goes to show how much of importance is being paid to cultural elements by Ekohoron Nam Dharma. Okay, so give an account of the British annexation of Kasar. Okay, give an account of the British annexation of Kasar. Early in the 19th century, the British annexed Kasar, an area in modern-day northeastern India. Okay, the Kosari family held the princely state of Kasar. Kasar, okay, like I said earlier in this video, Kasar, it was a part of what? It was a part, Dhansiri Valley as well as Kasar, they were parts of the famous Kosari kingdom. Okay, they were parts of the famous Kosari kingdom. Now, I mean, obviously, it was such a prosperous region, so the Britishers would be attracted to it. Okay, the Britishers would be attracted to it, that's for sure. Okay, so I mean, it was something inevitable. Okay, it was something inevitable, and I'm talking about a phase which happened after the Treaty of Yandabu. As we all know, Treaty of Yandabu was signed in 1826. The annexation process began in 1824 during the First Anglo-Burmese War. Okay, during the First Anglo-Burmese War. In fact, Kachar, what was Kasar? Kasar was a British protectorate. Okay, Kasar was a British protectorate. In fact, when the Burmese were trying to annex, or when the Burmese forces were trying to invade Kasar, okay, when the Burmese forces were trying to invade Kasar, when they were looking at Kasar, okay, when they were looking at Kachar with greedy eyes, the Burmese forces, that particular instance or development is considered to be one of the main reasons, okay, behind the onset or behind the outbreak of the First Anglo-Burmese War, which started from 1824 and it lasted till 1826, which ended with the Treaty of Yandabu, the famous Treaty of Yandabu, okay, which paved the foundation, or you can say which laid the foundation, which paved the way for the British conquest of Assam. So, see, in 1828, okay, the Kosari kingdom was annexed under the doctrine of lapse after King Govind Chandra was killed. We all know about the famous doctrine of lapse. So it was captured after the famous king Govind Chandra. Okay, he was a very famous king. Govind Chandra was after Govind Chandra died. So, however, the British, okay, they faced resistance from the local ruler Raja Tularam, who sought to maintain his independence. In 1832, the British accused Tularam of misrule and deposed him, appointing a British commissioner in his place. So in 1832, the Britishers did what they have done in the past. Okay, what they have done in the past with respect to the famous province of Awadh, which happened in 1856. Okay, the Nawab of Awadh, the then Nawab of Awadh, Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, was also deposed, citing similar reasons of what? Maladministration. Okay, and that particular incident is considered to be one of the key reasons behind the outbreak of the famous Sepoy Mutiny of 1857. So, with Kachar also, they did something similar. They cited reasons of maladministration and they annexed Kachar. The British used claims of poor management and the need for better administration to support the annexation. Okay, they always used these things as excuses. Okay, these were always the excuses, but the real intention was to what? But the real intention was to become the masters of the entire country. Okay, that was their real intention. Okay, they were guided by they were guided by a force. Okay, they were guided by a strong force of imperialism. They were guided by a strong sense of imperialism. And that very sense of imperialism, what is that sense of imperialism that I'm talking about? When you become an imperialist, okay, imperialist countries always consider other countries or other civilizations to be inferior. Okay, they always consider themselves to be superior than the others. And when you do that, when you consider yourself to be superior than the others, you try to impose your culture, you try to impose your way of life, you try to impose your traditions on the other people. Okay, so the Britishers, when they came to India, they were, most of the Britishers, I'm not saying all, okay, there were certain exceptions, okay, there were certain exceptions, but most of the Britishers had this imperialist or imperialistic mindset. And with this imperialistic mindset, okay, with this imperialistic mindset, or when you have this imperialistic mindset, you will try to bring in more and more areas under your control. Okay, you will try to bring in more and more areas under your control so that you can civilize those people. Okay, that's what they say. Okay, they gave idiotic theories like white man's burden to justify their expansion in India. Okay, so Koch's annexation, okay, Koch's annexation by the British was a pivotal moment in the history of the area, okay, in the history of the area, since it altered society, the economy, and the government fundamentally, and eventually brought Koch under the control of the British. So it was, it was a watershed moment. It was a watershed moment in the history of India when Koch was finally annexed by the British. Discuss Sukafa's policy towards the tribes of Assam, which led to the acceptance of the Ahoms. Very, very important question, because Saolung Sukafa is also considered to be the founder of the greater Assamese society. He has done a lot. Okay, he has done a lot. He welded various tribes into the greater Assamese society. See, let's find out how. The northeastern Indian state of Assam is home to the Ahom kingdom, which was established by Sukafa. We all know that. Okay, we all know Sukafa came to Assam around 1228 AD by crossing the Patkai hills, and according to scholars, the route or the pass. See, Patkai hills have got many passes. Okay, Patkai hills have got many mountain passes, and according to many scholars, the pass which was selected, by Sukafa to come to the other side, or let's say to come towards Assam, was the Pangsu Pass. And today Pangsu Pass is located where? Today Pangsu Pass is located in the Changlang district of Arunachal Pradesh. Pangsu Pass is that pass which separates, okay, Pangsu Pass is located, or Pangsu Pass is one of the passes of the Patkai hills, and it borders what? It borders between India and Myanmar. So the Ahoms, they were welcomed and assimilated into the local society in large part due to his initiative towards the Assamese tribes. The combination of diplomacy, cultural assimilation, and administrative measures best describes Sukafa's policies. So the policy, so mainly this sentence talks about the outlook or the policy which Sukafa adopted after coming to the plains of Assam. Okay, his approach towards the Nagas, his approach towards the Naga tribes was very different. His approach towards the Naga tribes was very different from the kind of approach or from the kind of way he dealt with the local tribes of Assam. For example, I am talking about the Morans and the Borahis. He considered them to be an equal. He promoted intermarriage. Okay, he promoted intermarriage. He considered them to be an equal. He did not shy away. Okay, he did not shy away from doing farming. Just imagine the founder of the Ahom kingdom himself. Okay, the founder of the Ahom kingdom himself is working as a peasant in the fields. And the Ahoms, see, right from the very beginning, they were very clear about this idea that we have to stay in Assam. They were not invaders. Okay, they were not invaders. They came with this mindset to stay in Assam, to develop Assam. And they fell in love with Assam. Okay, because of which they started calling Assam by the name of Mungdung Sungkham, which meant what? Mungdung Sungkham meant land of the land of the golden fields. Okay, that was a name which was given to Assam by its agricultural fields, land of the golden fields, Mungdong Sungkham. So that itself goes to show how much they used to, or that itself goes to show the kind of effect this particular land had on, this particular land had on Sukafa and his people. Okay, so they decided to stay here, and they also, so Sukafa also promoted intermarriage. Okay, Sukafa promoted intermarriage, and Sukafa himself is said to have, okay, Sukafa himself is said to have married, Sukafa himself is said to have married women from the other tribes of Assam. Okay, and see, you have to know one thing. It makes complete sense also, because one of the famous linguists of India, I mean, she has done many foreign works also. Her name is Dr. Peggy Mohan. According to Peggy Mohan, whenever these migrations happen, okay, be it the Aryan migration or be it this migration that we are talking about, whenever these migrations happen, okay, more often than not, women do not migrate, only the men migrate, according to Peggy Mohan. Okay, only men migrate. So when men migrate, obviously in order to expand their families, they have to marry whom? They have to marry the local women. Okay, so that's a very important point. See, first and foremost, Sukafa, like I said, he adopted a conciliatory approach towards the indigenous tribes of Assam. He recognized the diversity of the region and sought to establish peaceful relations with the various tribes. Okay, see, he also granted land rights. He also granted land rights to the tribal chiefs, allowing them to retain their traditional authority and customs. Okay, he granted land rights to the tribal chiefs, allowing them to retain their traditional authority and customs. And that, that was also maintained by the later Ahom kings. They never tried to interfere with the local or with the individual customs and beliefs of the tribal population. Okay. Furthermore, Sukafa encouraged the adoption of Assamese language and customs by the Ahoms. By adopting local traditions and practices, the Ahoms demonstrated their willingness to integrate with the tribal communities. The Assamese language that this particular point talks about, it was the rudimentary form of the present day Assamese language. Of course, the Assamese language did not sound like it sounds today. Okay, Assamese language, just like any other language, it also underwent various stages of development. Okay, there's a very famous book also by the name of Akomia Bhakar Itikhak. Okay. See, the combination of diplomacy, cultural assimilation, and administrative measures best describes Sukafa's policies. It is important to note that while Sukafa's policies were generally aimed at integration and acceptance, there were instances of conflicts and resistance from certain tribes. Now, coming to the next question, Naranarayan is often dubbed as the Chandragupta Vikramaditya of Assam. Explain. See, Chandragupta Vikramaditya is considered to be the most important ruler of the Gupta dynasty. Okay, it is considered to be the most important ruler of the Gupta dynasty. And, Chandragupta Vikramaditya, mainly we need to make a comparison between these two kings. So see, Chandragupta Vikramaditya was a great patron of arts. Okay, he was a great patron of arts and literature. In fact, he had 9 great personalities at his court. Okay, who put together 9 great personalities put together. That particular body was known as Navratna. Okay, Kalidas was one of the members of the Navratna. Vishakha Datta was another member. Okay, he was another member of this prestigious body of Navratna. So similarly, mainly in this particular question, we need to focus on the similarities between these two kings. So similarly, Naranarayan also promoted, he was also a great patron of art and learning. He himself was a very educated person. Okay, he was a very, very learned person. So he promoted education also, he promoted learning also. Okay, he promoted education and he patronized many important works. So, a literary, okay, during the reign of Naranarayan, something like a literary boom took place in his particular kingdom. See, Naranarayan, in Assam, Naranarayan's rule is seen as a time of prosperity and cultural growth. Naranarayan is lauded for his sponsorship of the arts, literature and education, much like Chandragupta Vikramaditya. Okay, for example, Purushottam Vidya Bhagish. Okay, he was a contemporary of Naranarayan. Okay, Purushottam Vidya Bhagish. He compiled a grammar. He compiled a grammar. There was another very, very important scholar by the name of Ananta Kondoli. What he did was he translated Bhagavat. He translated Bhagavat and other works into Assamese. He translated Bhagavat and other works into Assamese. A person by the name of, a scholar by the name of Ananta Kondoli. Then, see, a significant Hindu denomination that Naranarayan greatly supported was Vaishnavism. Okay, Naranarayan greatly supported Vaishnavism. I already told you that it was during the reign of Naranarayan. It was during the reign of Naranarayan that the Ekohoron Nam Dharma propagated by Mahapurush Srimanta Honkardev, it was able to strike roots in Assam. Okay, it was able to find a firm ground in Assam during the rule of Naranarayan. Then, I mean, obviously, he greatly supported the Vaishnavism, and during his reign, Lord Vishnu, temple construction, okay, religious festivities, and a blooming of devotional literature all took place. Okay, this is similar to Chandragupta Vikramaditya's promotion of Hinduism and his patronage of intellectuals and creatives. Okay, for example, Chandragupta Vikramaditya also patronized the likes of, okay, the likes of great scholars like Kalidas, Vishakadatta. Okay, Kalidas has written both secular as well as religious works. Additionally, Chandragupta Vikramaditya was renowned for his adherence. He was renowned for his adherence to what? Just and fair governance. While Naranarayan is also remembered for his efforts to establish a righteous. Okay, he was a very righteous king. Okay, he was a very righteous king. When the Koch kingdom got split, okay, just before the Koch kingdom got split, initially he tried to call back his nephew. And when his nephew refused to come back, he did not initiate any war. Okay, he did not trigger a war with his nephew because he was a pacifist. He preferred peace over war, over aggression. So immediately he agreed to the proposal of dividing the Koch kingdom into two parts. Okay, which came to be known as Koch Haju and Koch Bihar. So he was a pacifist. He avoided war. He avoided war as much as he could. But at the same time, he was also a realist. Okay, he could not dismiss the idea of fighting wars for the sake of what? For the sake of expanding. Okay, for the sake of expanding his empire. That was a very important thing for every kingdom, for every monarchy. In fact, the system of monarchy will survive as long as it kept on expanding. The moment it stopped expanding its territories, that is when most of the monarchies started to decline. Okay, that is when most of the monarchies where they were set or they started to go on a declining trend. Okay. Furthermore, both Chandragupta Vikramaditya and Naranarayan are considered symbols of national unity and sovereignty. Chandragupta Vikramaditya's empire was known for its territorial integrity and strong military, while Naranarayan successfully resisted foreign invasions and maintained the independence of the Koch kingdom, consolidating its power within Assam. Okay, this also can be compared because Chandragupta Vikramaditya, okay, he was able to extend its influence. Okay, Chandragupta Vikramaditya the second was able to extend the influence of the Gupta kingdom, or he was able to extend the influence of the Gupta empire to far off places like Maharashtra. Okay, so just imagine, and by doing that, and after a significant portion of Maharashtra came under his control, okay, after a significant portion of Maharashtra came under his influence or control, he was also able to defeat the mighty Sakas who were ruling from Saurashtra. Okay, and the moment he was able to capture a significant portion of Maharashtra, that also gave him access to port. See, states like, or from the very ancient times, modern day states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, okay, these were important centers. These were very, very important centers, and these also became centers of war. This also became what? This also became the main reasons. Okay, this also became the main reasons or the primary reasons for many battles and wars, because of the fact that they were coastal places. Everyone wanted C-axis. Okay, everyone wanted C-axis. The reign of Sohummung was a great landmark in the history of the Ahoms. Explain. Okay, Sohummung, as we all know, is one of the most famous Ahom kings. Sohummung, as we all know, is one of the most famous Ahom kings who was in power. Okay, who was in power in the middle of the 16th century CE. He was in power in the middle of the 16th century CE. The reign of Sohummung was indeed a significant one. See, first and foremost, military expansion. It was under the reign of Sohummung. It was under the reign of Sohummung that the Ahom kingdom, okay, the Ahom kingdom was able to expand its territories both to the eastern side and to the west. Okay, let's first talk about the eastern expansion, the eastwards expansion. The eastward expansion happened at the expense of the, okay, the eastward expansion happened at the expense of the Sutya kingdom. The capital of the Sutya kingdom was Hodia. Okay, the capital of the Sutya kingdom was Hodia. Then Sutya was annexed. Okay, somewhere around 1520s, the Sutya kingdom was annexed. Okay, the Sutya kingdom was annexed. After annexing the Sutya kingdoms, what he did was he also created a new office by the name of Hodia Khwa Guhai, because Hodia was the capital, okay, of the Sutya kingdom. So he annexed, okay, so he annexed the Sutya kingdom, and he he made a new post, he made a new and a very, very important position or an office by the name of Hodia Khwa Guhai. Okay, Frasenmung Bor Guhai became the first Hodia Khwa Guhai. Okay, Frasenmung Bor Guhai became the first Hodia Khwa Guhai. So see, see, Hodia Khwa Guhai became a very, very important office. So in a way, it was what? It was the frontier. Okay, it was a frontier office. Or Hodia Khwa Guhai became a frontier officer. What is the meaning of frontier officer? Border officer, because Hodia used to be the border. Okay, on the other side of Hodia, the other side of Hodia was very difficult to manage. Okay, for example, because the other side of Hodia was largely inhabited by the hill tribes, who often used to conduct raids into the plains of Assam. So a special officer was appointed, a special post was created by the name of Hodia Khwa Guhai. Okay, so that was the eastward expansion that I was talking about. To the west, okay, to the west, it also expanded towards the west in the 1530s. Okay, it also expanded towards the west in 1530s at the expense of whom? At the expense of the Kosari kingdom. Okay, under the reign of Sohummung, the capital of the Kosari kingdom was invaded twice. Dimapur, okay, Dimapur was the first capital of the Kosari kingdom. Dimapur was occupied or invaded twice during the reign of Sohummung. Finally, in 1536 CE, okay, when Dimapur was occupied for the second time, okay, at that time the Kosari king was Detsung. Okay, Detsung was the Kosari king. So finally in 1536, when Dimapur was occupied, it was at that point in time, then the Kosaris decided to move further south. Okay, they abandoned Dimapur and they moved further south, and they set up their capital at Maibong, which today is a part of the Dima Hasao district. Okay, so under Sohummung, the Ahom kingdom expanded towards the east as well as the west. Okay, so the moment the Kosari kingdom was defeated, or the moment the Kosaris were made to retreat to Maibong, so a significant portion of the Dhansiri valley, okay, a significant portion of the Dhansiri valley came under the control of the Ahom kingdom. And it was then another post, another office by the name of Morongi Khwa Guhai. Okay, another office by the name of Morongi Khwa Guhai, or another position by the name of Morongi Khwa Guhai was created. Okay, I mean, other than that, because we are talking about positions, okay, another very, very important position was created by the name of Borpatra Guhai. Okay, Borpatra Guhai was a very, very important position, because Borpatra Guhai was one of the members of the Council of Five, the five most important people, the five most important nobles of the Ahom kingdom. Okay, the five most important nobles of the Ahom kingdom, and the first person to become the Borpatra Guhai was Konseng Borpatra Guhai. Okay, he was related to Sohummung. So that was the military expansion. I mean, other than that, if we talk about the administrative reforms, so he also carried out many administrative reforms. He divided the royal family into feuds or clans, and the four royal families were Dihingia, Tipamia, Saringia, and Tungkhungia. So these were the 4 clans or the feuds he decided to divide the Ahom family into. And they were divided. Okay, why were they divided? They were divided purely on administrative grounds, as well as they were divided on purely on administrative grounds, and also you can say from the point of view of taxation also, just to make things easier. Okay, and Suhumung himself belonged to which particular clan? Suhumung himself belonged to the Dihingya clan. Okay, he himself belonged to the Dihingya clan, because of which, okay, Suhumung is also known as Dihingya Roja. Okay, he was also a patron of culture and learning. Okay, during his reign, notable works like the Buronjis, okay, Buronjis or historical chronicles were compiled. See, if we talk about the military expansion, another thing we have to talk about Suhumung was that he was able to resist 3 Islamic invasions. Okay, he was able to resist 3 Muslim invasions, but all 3 Muslim invasions were not equally important, but there was one Muslim invasion which was very important, and that particular invader was Turbak. Okay, and that particular battle took place somewhere around 1532 CE, and the final battle with Turbak took place on the banks of Bhoroli, which is very close to Tejpur, river Bhoroli. And in that particular battle, Turbak was defeated, he was killed. Now, why is that particular battle very, very important? This particular battle is very important for certain reasons. Number one, it was in this particular battle, okay, it was in this particular battle that unfortunately Frasenmung Borgohain, okay, Frasenmung Borgohain was killed in this particular battle, and it was to avenge the death of her husband, that a brave Assamese princess, a brave Assamese woman by the name of Mulagabhoru. Okay, she also jumped into the arena of the war. Okay, and she later became a martyr. Second very, very important reason, the reason which you can see in this particular slide, is that what? It is that from the end of this particular war, I am talking about the war with Turbak. Okay, let's say from the end of 1532, okay, from the end of this war which took place around 1532 CE, the Ahoms began to use firearms. The Ahoms began to use firearms, or in other words, the use of firearms or toops. Okay, the use of firearms by the Ahoms can be traced, okay, can be traced back to the end of this particular war. Very, very important. Another very important reason, okay, another very important reason why this war is important is that, now Turbak's army was being defeated. So what was the treatment? What was the treatment meted out to the soldiers of this army by Suhumung? Wow, how did he treat the soldiers of his army? He did not kill the soldiers of his army. Of course, Turbak was killed. His head is said to have been buried at the Soraidio hills, but his soldiers were settled in different parts of Assam. His soldiers, the soldiers of the army of Turbak were settled in different parts of Assam. And these soldiers, okay, these soldiers later came to be known as Morias. Okay, today Moria is one of the indigenous Muslim communities of Assam. Okay, so other than that, there was also a significant development. Okay, there was also a significant development in the domain of economy. See, Suhumung, he focused on promoting economic growth and welfare in the Ahom kingdom. He initiated many agricultural development projects, okay, including irrigation systems and land reclamations, which improved agricultural productivity. The expansion of trade routes and commerce during his reign contributed to the economic prosperity of the kingdom. Okay, see, along with this, because we are talking about economic development, he also carried out the first ever census in Assam. He carried out the first ever census in Assam, and it was during one of these research, or it was during one of these developments that he came to know that the agricultural land of the Jorhat district was most suitable for the cultivation of rice. Okay, he came to know that the agricultural, that the land of Jorhat district was most suitable. Okay, that the land of the Jorhat district was most suitable from the point of view of what? paddy cultivation. Then, of course, social welfare. He implemented measures for social welfare within the Ahom society. He promoted education and learning, establishing centers of knowledge and scholarship. His reign also witnessed the construction of bridges and roads, enhancing connectivity and facilitating easier access to healthcare and other essential services for the people. Describe the heroic role played by Lasit Borphukan in the war against the Mughals. Okay, we all know about Lasit Borphukan. Okay, we have grown up hearing about his stories. He is one of the most important heroes of Assam. Okay, he is one of the most important heroes of Assam, and in this particular answer, we will primarily talk about his role. Okay, about the role which he played against the Mughals. Please be mindful of one thing. Okay, please be mindful of one thing when we are talking about the role being played by Lasit Borphukan against the Mughals. See, we cannot just talk about the Battle of Saraighat. I mean, of course, I'm not denying the fact that Battle of Saraighat was the most important development in the life of Lasit Borphukan. Okay, that is what we know Lasit Borphukan for. He's best remembered for his role in Battle of Saraighat. But even before the Battle of Saraighat began, he played another very important role in 1667 CE. In that particular development, he was able to, when he was entrusted with the responsibility, okay, he was entrusted with the responsibility by none other than, okay, by none other than Chakradhwaj Singha, the Ahom king Chakradhwaj Singha gave him a responsibility to oust the Mughals from Guwahati. Okay, at that point in time, before that particular development, Guwahati was under the control of the Mughals. Okay, in fact, Pandu and Guwahati, okay, both were, today we consider Pandu to be a part of Guwahati, but at that time, they were both two separate areas. So both Guwahati, certain areas like Guwahati and Pandu were under the control, okay, were under the control of whom? They were under the control of Mughals. Why they were under the control of Mughals? Because some years before that, in 1662 CE, Assam was invaded. Okay, the Ahom kingdom was invaded by Mir Jumla, who stayed in Assam, who was able to capture Gorgaon for several months. He stayed in Assam for about 6 to 8 months, and he went back. Okay, he went back in the month of January 1663. Okay, he went back in the month of January 1663, and before going back, okay, his stay in Assam, he went back for several reasons. He also wanted to make a compromise with the Ahoms, because his stay in Assam, a lot of soldiers were dying. Okay, a lot of soldiers were dying because of many diseases. Okay, mainly because of malaria. A lot of his soldiers were dying. Also the Ahom soldiers. Okay, also the Ahom soldiers had resorted to a series of guerrilla attacks. Okay, they were attacking the Mughal soldiers, or they were attacking the force of Mir Jumla again and again. So all these reasons, all these factors compelled Mir Jumla to enter into an understanding with the Ahom king, and that particular treaty came to be known as Treaty of Ghilazari Ghat, which was signed in 1663 CE in the month of January. So according to this particular treaty, the northern boundary, okay, the northern boundary between the Ahom kingdom and the Mughal Empire came to be the Bharoli river, okay, which, like I said earlier, flows very close to Tezpur. Okay, the northern boundary between the Ahom kingdom and the Mughal Empire came to be the Bharoli river, and the southern, okay, the southern boundary, okay, the southern boundary between the Ahom kingdom and the Mughal Empire came to be the Kolong river. Okay, the southern boundary became the Kolong river. So now let's focus on these two boundaries. So if the northern boundary was the Bharoli river, and if the southern boundary was the Kolong river, okay, the southern boundary was the Kolong river, so all the areas located to the west, of these two rivers were under the Mughal control. And as we all know, Guwahati is located to the west of these two rivers, so Guwahati also was under the control of the Mughals at that point in time, after the signing of the Treaty of Ghilazari Ghat. So it was a matter of what? It was a matter of disgrace. Okay, it was a matter of disgrace for us, the Assamese. So it was decided by Chakradhwaj Singha, was the one who finally decided to change things. So it was under his command, it was under his command that finally a decision was being taken to oust the Mughals to chase the Mughals out of Guwahati. And the responsibility was given to none other than Pir Lasit Borfukan, okay, who is said to have been the son of Momai Tamuli Borborua. So when this responsibility was being given to Lasit Borfukan, so he came to Guwahati and he was successful. He was successful in ousting. He was successful in ousting the Mughals from Guwahati. So Guwahati was being recaptured by Lasit Borfukan in 1667. In fact, see, a very, very interesting thing, we often miss out on a very interesting thing, is the fact that in fact it was during this, okay, it was during this incident when he was trying to capture Guwahati. Okay, when he was trying to capture Guwahati around 1667 CE, many scholars say that it was during this particular incident that he had built the famous Mumai Kota Gor or fort. See, because he was building forts all around Guwahati, so the Mumai Kota Gor was built around this particular time. Now, what was this particular fort or Gor? You know, it is believed, it is believed that it was during this war, or in order to win this particular battle, he decided to build a fort. Okay, he decided to build a fort or a Gor. And he decided to build this fort where? He decided to build this fort or Gor, and this Gor was supposed to start from the Lankeshwar hills. Okay, as we all know, Lankeshwar. Okay, the Lankeshwar, which is very close to Azara. Okay, it was this particular fort was supposed to start from the Lankeshwar hills, and it was moved. Okay, and it was supposed to start from the Lankeshwar hill, and it was supposed to move towards the Brahmaputra river. Okay, and if I have to tell you the route in which it moved, it passed through the modern day Guwahati University. It was only in the 1940s that the Guwahati University was built, that the land, okay, that the Assam government decided to give away the land to, the Assam government decided to give away the land for the sake of this university. So the Gor at one point in time, according to scholars, started from the Lankeshwar hills, and it proceeded towards the Brahmaputra river. Okay, it proceeded towards the Brahmaputra river through the modern day Guwahati University, through the modern day site of the Guwahati University. That is the Gor I am talking about. So what happened during the construction of this particular Gor? So Lasit Borfukan had given the construction workers, okay, Lasit Borfukan had given the construction workers a deadline. They were supposed to complete the fort. They were supposed to complete the fort before the break of the dawn. So when he did a midnight inspection, he found that most of the soldiers or most of the workers were not working properly. So to set an example, he's said to have killed his own uncle. He's said to have killed his own uncle who was put in charge of the construction of that particular fort. Okay, because of this particular incident, that fort came to be known as Mumai Kota Gor. But here, I would like to also share another trivia with you, that we do not have any historical evidence to support, but also at the same time, we do not have any historical evidence to negate this particular fact. But what we do know is that the Mughals later acknowledged that something like this, okay, they also acknowledged that something like this happened during the construction of that particular fort, due to which they started calling that fort Kurbani Fort. Okay, that goes to show that something of that nature must have happened. So we do not have to focus on all that, but what is most important is that by doing that particular thing, Lasit Borfukan was able to set an example. He was able to expedite the work, and he was also able to inspire. He was, at times you also need to instill a sense of fear, okay, among your subordinates, so that they do their work properly and on a timely fashion. So he was able to do that. He was able to inspire them. At the same time, he was also able to instill a deep sense of fear among them, so that they do their work properly. Okay. And if we talk about the role of Lasit Borfukan during the Battle of Saraihat, so what happened? See, in 1667, like I said, he was able to oust the Mughals from Guwahati. Okay, and the Mughals were gone from Guwahati, so Guwahati once again came under the control of the Ahuns. When the news reached Aurangzeb, okay, at that time he was the Mughal emperor, so it was a matter of great disgrace and insult for Aurangzeb. So he at once sent another army, okay, under the commandership of Ram Singh. And that particular army reached, around, let's say, 1669 CE. And another series of conflicts started. And earlier in 1667 CE, when Lasit Borfukon's forces were able to oust the Mughal forces, that particular development gave a lot of joy to the then Ahom king by the name of Chakradhwaj Singh. Okay, he was elated. He became very, very happy. Chakradhwaj Singh became very happy, and he decided to do what? He decided to make Guwahati. The headquarters of the Borfukon. Earlier, Koliabor was the headquarters of the Borfukon. Now he has decided to transfer or shift the headquarters of the Borfukon to Guwahati, because Guwahati was now under the control of the Ahoms. So later, when this news finally reached Aurangzeb, so he sent another army under the commandership of Ram Singh, and it reached Assam somewhere around 1669 CE. And Lasit Borfukon, under the commandership of Lasit Borfukon, another series of conflicts started with this particular army. Okay, with this particular Mughal army, another series of conflicts started, which finally ended in 1671 at the famous Battle of Horaighat. Okay, if I have to tell you about the exact site of the Battle of Horaighat, see the exact war site, the exact battle site, the exact war site or the battle site of the Battle of Horaighat was like a triangle. It was within this triangle that all the developments were happening during or in 1671. All the developments that were happening in the famous Battle of Horaighat, which was fought in the year 1671 CE, were happening within this particular triangle. And what were the three most important parts, or what were the three most important points of this triangle? On the northern bank of the Brahmaputra, okay, on the northern bank of the Brahmaputra, the Ashwaklanta temple was 1 point, and on the southern bank of the Brahmaputra, there were 2 points. 1 point was the Itakholi base, which was the base, okay, of Itakholi hills, which was the base, okay, which was the military base of the Ahoms. And another point on the northern bank of Brahmaputra would be Pandu. So these 3 points, which form a triangle, okay, if you join these 3 points, they will form a triangle. And it was within this triangle that the developments were taking place during this particular Battle of Horaighat. And it was during this Battle of Horaighat, okay, So before this battle, Lasit Borfukon was also supported, because we have to talk about the Rajmantri, okay, we have to talk about the Prime Minister. Who was the Ahom Prime Minister at that point in time? The Ahom Prime Minister at that point in time was Aton Buragohain. Okay, he was the Rajmantri or the Ahom Prime Minister. Both of these people, okay, Lasit Borfukon as well as Aton Buragohain, they came up with the idea of fortifying Guwahati. Okay, see, Guwahati has a natural advantage also. Okay, it has many natural fortifications. At the same time, they decided to build many artificial fortifications ba Amizak forts ba Gors Buliko. They came up with this idea, and it eventually bore fruits for them. So it was this idea, it was to build fortifications around the city of Guwahati. Okay, around the city of Guwahati, it was the idea of Aton Buragohain and Lasit Borfukon. Okay, then finally his most famous act of heroism, it came during the decisive Battle of Horaighat, when he was severely injured. Okay, he was very, very sick. Okay, he was very, very sick. Despite his critical condition, okay, Lasit Borfukon, he refused to surrender, and instead he urged his soldiers to continue the fight, famously stating that if you want to flee, flee. Okay, if you want to go away, you can go away, but my king has given me a task, and I will do it or die. And the task was what? That task was to free Assam from any foreign dominance, from any foreign dominion. That was the task. So this particular incident, see, he was very, very sick. He could have avoided fighting this war. Instead he again went to the thick of things, and that particular development changed the course of the war, which for a brief amount of time was tilting in favor of the Mughals. Now that he has rejoined the war, and this particular incident that he rejoined the war. He once again jumped into the thick of things despite what? Despite his bad health. That itself gave a lot of confidence to the Assamese soldiers who once again fought with all the more gusto and all the more enthusiasm. And that particular incident, it was at that particular moment that things started changing in favor of the Ahoms. Okay, so he's known for Lasit Borfukon is another symbol of bravery, indomitable courage as well as bravery, as well as he's a symbol of patriotism. Okay. And by the way, during the, he is as many as more than 10 forts are said to have been built by Lasit Borfukon and Aton Boragohai around the city of Guwahati during this time. And one of the famous gors or forts is also Gorsuk. Okay, the area which today is known as Gorsuk, which is very close to Ahumgaon. Okay, on the Lokhara road, Gorsuk. Okay, it was at that particular area another fort was located. See, the fort, it was that particular fort which was being built by Lasit Borfukon that gave the area its modern day name, Gorsuk. It is for this reason that the area today is known as Gorsuk. Discuss the relevance of the account of Shihabuddin Talish in the historiography of Assam. Historiography means the art of writing history. See, who was Shihabuddin Talish? Okay, Shihabuddin Talish, he came to Assam along with Mir Jumla. Now I am again talking about Mir Jumla's Assam invasion of 1662 CE. So when he invaded Assam, a very famous historian by the name of Shihabuddin Talish also came along with him. Now this historian, Shihabuddin Talish, has written a very famous book. Okay, he has left behind a very interesting account. He has left behind a very interesting account by the name of Fatiyah-e-Ibriya. He has left behind a very interesting account by the name of Fatiyah-e-Ibriya, and in this particular account, he has spoken at length about many things. Okay, he has spoken at length about many things of medieval Assam. Okay, he has spoken at length about many things of Assam which today help us in reconstructing that particular phase of Assam. Okay, his observations, they shed light on the economic conditions. His observations shed light on the social conditions. His observation also shed light on the architectural marvel, okay, of the Ahoms. Okay, for example, he also says that salt was something which was scarcely found in Assam, and we know that's also a fact, because Assam was never known for abundance of salt. Okay, Assam was never known for abundance of what? Salt. It always, most of the salt that Assam used to get, okay, most of the salt, I'm not saying every ounce of salt, but I'm saying most of the salt that Assam used to get was from other parts of India. So this particular person by the name of Shihabuddin Talish, his account contributes to our understanding of the political landscape of Assam during that particular era. His writings shed light on the administration, military organization and governance of the Ahom kingdom. He praises the Assamese soldiers also. He speaks highly of the Assamese soldiers. He speaks highly of the bravery and audacity of the Assamese soldiers. Okay, he says that 100 foreign soldiers, okay, 100 foreign soldiers who are on foot are of no match. 100 foreign soldiers who are on foot are of no match to one single Assamese soldier. It's not my statement, it's not my words. Shihabuddin Talish has said this in his famous work, Fatiyah-e-Ibriya. Okay, he also talks about the famous gold washing industry of Assam. He also talks about the famous gold washing industry of Assam. In one of my previous classes, I already told you that Assam at one point in time, most of the rivers of Upper Assam used to carry gold particles, and it was the duty of a particular community, okay, who later came to be known as Sonwal Kosaris. Okay, it was their duties to extract the gold particles. Okay, it was their duty, or let's say the Kosari community was an expert. Okay, it was an expert in extracting or in separating the gold particles from the sand in which they often used to get mixed with. So that entire thing was known as what? That entire thing, an industry, okay, in due course of time, an industry had developed around that particular art, and that industry was known as gold washing industry. And this industry has been referred to by many people. Okay, this industry has been talked about or referred to by many people, by many foreigners who came to Assam, and also by many, by many locals, including Moniram Dewan. Okay, in fact, Moniram Dewan has also left behind a very interesting account which also tells us about the gold washing industry. Okay, by the name of A Native Account of Gold Washing. Okay, A Native Account of Gold Washing Industry, or A Native Account of Gold Washing. Okay. He also talks about, Talish also talks about the Ahom kings, their court rituals, the functioning of the bureaucracy, and the social structure prevalent at that time. Okay, Talish's account offers insights into the cultural and religious practices of Assam. It describes the religious customs, festivals, and traditions followed by the Ahom people, providing valuable information about their religious syncretism with influences from Hinduism and local indigenous beliefs. Another very important observation, is also being made by Shihabuddin Talish. Okay, and this particular observation is very famous in Assam. And what is this particular observation? He has recorded in his book that the Muslims of Assam, the Muslims who were living in Assam at that point in time, okay, the Muslims who were Assamese, who were as much Assamese as the other people, he is talking about those Muslims. The local Muslims of Assam were Muslims just by their names. Okay, he says that the local Muslims of Assam were Muslims just in name. Why so? Because he could not differentiate them. He could not differentiate them from the people following other religions. Okay, he could not differentiate the local Assamese Muslims from the other people following other religions living in Assam. So that goes to show what? That goes to show the kind of assimilation that was happening in Assam. Okay, that goes to show the kind of assimilation that was happening in Assam. Okay, and that's a very powerful statement. Okay, that's a very powerful statement. Then he also describes the famous Gorgaon Palace. He says that he makes a very big statement. See, Shihabuddin Talish is such a popular, he's a person of high repute. Now, he also praises the Gorgaon Palace. Okay, Gorgaon Palace is the palace which was located at the Gorgaon. He talks at great length about this particular palace, and he goes on to make a very big statement. He says that nowhere in this planet, he has ever seen a palace. Which was as strong and as beautiful as the Gorgaon Palace. Okay, he also talks about the various kinds of ornamentations that were found inside the Gorgaon Palace. Just imagine. He also talks about the kind of designs, the kinds of ornamentations that he saw inside the Gorgaon Palace. Okay, that he saw inside the Gorgaon Palace, and that is a very, very valuable account. Okay, that is a very, very valuable account. The Gorgaon Palace of that time was also a massive palace. Okay, what has remained now is just a figment, in my opinion. It's only a tip of the iceberg. It once upon a time used to be a massive palace, and Gorgaon Palace obviously has also been reconstructed many times. Okay, during the course of its history. The reign of Rudrahingha may be regarded as marking the climax of the Ahom rule in Assam. Okay, the great king Rudrahingha. Okay, according to most of the scholars on Assam history, Rudrahingha is the greatest king of the Ahom. Okay, Rudrahingha is the greatest king of the Ahom kingdom. Okay, he is the greatest king of the Ahom dynasty. Now, why is he known as the greatest king? Okay, see, Assam's Ahom rule reached its pinnacle during the tenure of Rudrahingha, which stands for a time of political stability, military triumph, and cultural wealth. Significant accomplishments made during his reign, which lasted from 1696 to 1714, helped to maintain the Ahom kingdom's authority and influence in Assam. The following significant features underline the importance of Rudrasingha's rule. Okay, military expansion and consolidation. If we talk about the military expansion and consolidation, okay, primarily we have to talk about two things at the very beginning. He was able to suppress, okay, he was able to suppress whom? He was able to suppress two such forces who were not very easy to be suppressed. One was the Kosari kingdom and the other was the Jaintia kingdom. These two kingdoms were suppressed. See, earlier I said that the Kosari kingdom was, or the Kosaris were defeated by Suhumung. Yes, they were defeated by Suhumung, but even after they were defeated by Suhumung, they refused to acknowledge the Ahom overlordship. They refused to be called the vassals of the Ahoms. The Ahoms considered them to be what? The Ahoms considered them to be a vassal. Okay, Thapito. The Ahoms considered them to be a vassal, but the Kosaris, they did not consider them to be a vassal of the Ahom kingdoms ever. Okay, because of which they kept on troubling the Ahoms again and again. So they kept on having troubles. They kept on having troubles with the Ahoms again and again. It was only during the time of Rudrasingha that he was finally able to subdue the Kosaris, okay, as well as the Jaintia kingdom. And both the Kosari king and the Jaintia king submitted. Okay, they submitted and they accepted his overlordship at a huge conference. They accepted his overlordship at a huge conference which took place at Vishwanath. Okay. Now, see, which took place at Vishwanath. Now, again, another very famous incident. Okay, another very famous incident which has a relation with the military expansion. Okay, I have to say this. He was also planning to do what? He was also planning to restore the ancient borders of Assam. And he was planning to take the borders of Assam to as far as the river Karatoya. I've already talked about this in my previous class, that according to Mahabharata, the western boundary of Assam was river Karatoya, which today flows somewhere around the Jalpaiguri, and then it flows into Bangladesh. So he was planning on doing that. And which indirectly also meant what? He was planning to fight the Mughals. In their own territory. Okay, and with that objective in mind, he also organized. Okay, he was making the arrangements also. He was very, very serious about this. Okay, he was not just toying with this idea, but he was very, very serious. And he had already started making arrangements. A Dofala regiment. Okay, a Dofala regiment was also created for this purpose. But unfortunately, before he could do anything about it, or before he could start this particular expedition, he died. Okay, he died. Then, effective administration and governance. Okay, Rudrasingha's reign witnessed efficient administration and governance. He introduced administrative reforms, including the appointment of trusted officials and the establishment of regional administrative units known as Morums. Okay, Rudrasingha is also said to have introduced. Okay, Rudrasingha is also said to have introduced or created separate khels, like for example Kakoti, Kotoki. Okay, so all these khels were created. All these khels were created by Rudrasingha. ठीक है सर? Patronage of arts and culture. See, because we are talking about arts, we have to talk about the fact that Rudrasingha has also been called as the Shivaji of the Eastern India by a very great scholar by the name of S.K. Chatterjee. S.K. Chatterjee has called Rudrasingha as Shivaji of the East. Okay, Shivaji of the East. Why? Because of the cultural vision. Okay, because of the cultural vision, Rudrasingha had. Now, what cultural vision I'm talking about? Rudrasingha, he connected the Ahom kingdom with the rest of India in terms of what? In terms of cultural exchanges. He connected the Ahom kingdom with the rest of India in terms of cultural exchanges. How did he do that? He did that He did that by sending envoys or ambassadors. He did that by sending envoys or ambassadors. You know, he used to send Ahom envoys or ambassadors to all different parts of India. He used to tell them to observe the various customs which have been followed in the different parts of India. And when those Ahom envoys used to bring those, okay, when they used to report back to the king. So if Rudrahinga found any such custom interesting, he used to implement that particular custom or that particular tradition in his own kingdom. See, that was the broad-mindedness of Rudrahinga. In fact, the envoys were the envoys which were sent by Rudrahinga, he created a separate khel for this purpose, and that khel was known as Kotokis. Okay, who were the Kotokis? They were basically envoys. Okay, they were basically envoys who were being sent to the other parts of India to learn about the practices. Okay, to learn about the practices which were followed in different parts of India. So that itself goes to show the kind of cultural vision he had. Okay. And okay, because we are talking about his contribution to art. See, Rudrahinga, we all know that. Okay, when we talk about his contribution to architecture, we will also talk about the fact that he was the first Ahom king who constructed the Ronghor. Okay, he constructed the Ronghor, which today is considered to be one of the largest amphitheaters of Asia. He was the one who initially constructed it. Obviously, his construction was made of what? Bamboo and wood. That's a different thing. But he had this vision to construct something like Ronghor. And when, after constructing Ronghor, okay, and the field in front of the Ronghor, and we all know why did he construct Ronghor? Ronghor was basically constructed, and it was from that particular place that the Ahom kings or the Ahom king was supposed to enjoy various other modes of entertainment. Okay, like for example, dances, bullfights, and all the other things, and all other various kinds of sports that were being carried out where? That were being carried out in the front yard. Okay, that were being carried out in the front yard by the name of Rupohi Pothar. So the point I'm trying to make here is Rudrahinga also played a very important role. He also played a very important role with respect to the modern day Bihu dance. I'm not saying that he was the one who invented the Bihu dance. Bihu dance is older than Rudrahinga. But what was his contribution? He said to have been the first Ahom king who actually invited a Bihu troupe, who invited Bihu dancers to perform, in that particular Rupohi Pothar. And the king used to enjoy the Bihu dance. And that gave a institutionalized form to the Bihu dance. Okay, a very, very important contribution. And that thing has been maintained even till today. That thing has been maintained, that thing that the Bihu dancers would come and they would perform the famous Bihu dance. Okay, in the Rupohi Pothar, that thing which was started during the reign of Rudrahinga, it has continued till today. Okay. See, so now if we talk about the infrastructure development, I've already talked about his connection with Ronghor. Okay, his connection with Ronghor. Other than that, Rudrahinga, actually the place where Ronghor is situated is known as what? Rangpur. Okay, the place, now the town is known as Hiwahagar. That's a different thing. But earlier, different parts of Hiwahagar were known by different names. So the place, let's say the place where Ronghor or even the Tolatal Ghor, okay, where these monuments are situated, okay, this place once upon a time was known as Rangpur, and Rangpur at one point in time was also a separate capital of the Ahoms. Now, he constructed many monuments. Okay, Rudrahinga, it was from the time of Rudrahinga. It was from the, according to scholars, the art of making monuments of brick. Okay, brickwork. Okay, brickwork means itar kam. Okay, the brickwork, the practice of using bricks. Okay, the practice of using bricks in the construction. Okay, that particular art was not known in Assam. It was Rudrasingha who brought a famous architect from Bengal by the name of Ghanoshyam Khonikar. Okay, if you go to Sibsagar, there is a monument also by the name of Ghanoshyam's house. So it was Rudrasingha who brought this architect from Bengal by the name of Ghanoshyam Khonikar, and under the guidance of Ghanoshyam Khonikar, many brick buildings were, or let's say many brick structures were built in Rangpur. Okay, and that particular tradition continued. Later on, we also hear of the Ranghar. Okay, we also hear of the Ranghar being made of what? We also hear of the Ranghar being made of brick and stones. Okay, later, I mean, I'm talking about a different Ahom ruler, and that Ahom ruler was Pramatahingha. You know, I've already talked about the cultural synthesis. So for all these reasons, and there was another reason, okay, under political reason, we can also talk about the, about what? About the cordial relations, okay, about the cordial relations he tried to maintain with the Vaishnavite gurus. See, his father, who was another mighty Ahom king, Gadadhar, he was not very friendly. He was not very friendly towards the Vaishnavite gurus, or let's say towards most of the Vaishnavite gurus. He was not friendly towards certain Hotras. Okay, for example, Auniyati Hotra. Okay, he was not friendly with most of the Vaishnavite gurus. Okay, due to various reasons. So, Gadadhar, no matter he was a great ruler, but his rule is also known for a large amount of Vaishnavite persecution. Now, when his son Rudrasingha came to power, he reversed his father's policy, and he started extending an olive branch. He started trying to improve the relations of the Ahom kingdom with whom? With the leaders of the Vaishnavite religion. Okay, that is also a very, very important thing. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to reverse a policy which was started by your father. Okay, but he reverses it. You know, and this particular question, describe the effects of the British rule in Assam. This question has already been discussed in my last class. Okay, in my last class or in my last session, which was held day before yesterday. So I will not be discussing this question anymore. See, you know, now I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about certain new initiatives which CSAP is coming up with. First and foremost, we are going to conduct a full-length test. And the USP of this full-length test is that we are going to conduct this full-length test exactly in the same pattern, or exactly following the same exact time schedule of the APSC mains. Okay? Exactly, we will follow the exact time schedule of the APSC mains. So as you can see here, okay, this full-length test, same day, same time, test yourself accordingly, and we are going to conduct this full-length test on 17th, 18th and 19th of June 2023. Okay, and I can guarantee you, we are very, very sure that if you write this test, okay, you can be rest assured of cracking this APSC mains exam, because trust me on this, or trust CSAP on this, you will find many common questions from this particular full-length test. So we are going to conduct this on 17, 18 and 19, and these are the timings. See, we are keeping the timings at par. Okay, we are keeping the timings at par with the APSC mains timings. That is the USP of this exam, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and again 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Then obviously along with this, we are also coming up with certain dedicated essay YouTube videos. Okay, we are also coming up with, we have already started doing certain essay YouTube videos, and we have started this from 20th of this month. These YouTube videos are very short videos lasting for about 10 to 15 minutes, and these YouTube videos which we are conducting not just for essays but also for ethics. Okay, we are conducting or we are doing short YouTube videos lasting for about 10 to 15 minutes for both essays and ethics. As we all know, essay is a separate paper as well as ethics is also a separate paper, and these two papers are going to be the deciding factor this time. Okay, these two papers are going to be the deciding factor this time. So it is very, very important for you to please watch these videos, very, very short videos. We are not going to consume much of your time because we know that you have to study also, you have to prepare also. But trust me, if you follow these videos regularly, it will help you crack the upcoming APSC mains. Okay, that is for sure. So on that particular note, I would end my today's session, and all you have to do is register. In case of any doubts, please feel free to call us at 91275 15541. In case of any doubt, please feel free to call us at 91275 15541. Okay, thank you so much. See you again very soon.
আপনার গরম লাগে